Welcome into the Steelers Talk live show. Today we are previewing NFL free agency for your Pittsburgh Steelers. We've got two loaded segments of Steelers content to come in your way here over the next hour or so. Thank you to all the real ones. Let's see how many people are in the chat right now. We've got over 90 people already tuning in at the beginning of today's live stream. Thank you guys so much for joining us. I'm your host, Jack Sperry. We'll be joined by producer Coop here in just 1 second. He's already getting his terrible towel ready. But today we got a bunch of great stuff. We're going to be talking about quarterback rumors. We're going to talk about some potential draft targets at the quarterback position that have been linked to the Pittsburgh Steelers. We'll discuss the latest surrounding Justin Fields and Russell Wilson, which one the Steelers are going to be bringing back. And of course, I've got my free agency targets at every position of need in our second segment. Coop's excited for today's show. Here we go, Steelers. Here we go. Here we go, Steelers. Here we go. Here we go, Steelers. Here we go. Welcome into the show, Coop. How you doing this afternoon here? Of course, it's our last live show.
Yep.
Before we go live on next Monday, we'll be going live during the day for NFL free agency.
Probably 11 a.m. Eastern?
Probably 11 a.m. Eastern. We might even go a little bit earlier than that just to get you guys ready. But we will be going live during NFL free agency for most of the days. I think we're going to be going live multiple days next week.
Sure.
And, of course, we'll be going live when the Steelers sign whoever their quarterback is going to be. We're going to be going live every time they make a big move. If they make a big trade, doesn't matter. We're going to have a bunch of live coverage for you guys on this channel over the next week. So make sure you click that subscribe button if you haven't already.
I do have a question. When we go live for free agency, are you going to do, and we're live?
We may. We might have to bring back the and we're live. We might have to do that. I see a lot of DK Metcalfs down there in the comments section right now to this question. Name a player you want Pittsburgh to sign in free agency.
Well, they'd have to trade for him.
You'd have to trade for him, and right now apparently Seattle wants a first-round pick and a third-round pick.
You'd have to, and give him a new deal, right?
Yeah, there's just no way they're going to get a first and a third. Like that, at most, I think they get 2 seconds. I think that is the most that they are going to get moving forward. I want to see all the people in the chat right now. Who's all here? We got Dominic. We got Isaac. We got John, Masood, my man. We got Maya's World. Got Cecil.
birthday is tomorrow.
Voxy is here. Whose birthday is it tomorrow?
Maya's World.
Maya's World. Happy birthday.
Happy
Early birthday. We got Mike Hunt. We got Lee Goddard.
No way.
What?
Mike Hunt.
Oh, no way. I got got.
No way.
I got.
Somebody clip it. Somebody clip it.
Somebody clip it. Got Chad. We got Michael. We got John. We got Steelers Country 14. John McKee. John. Jesus. Lee Goddard.
So good.
We got Chad. We've got Johnny. Chad just wants Justin Fields already. Well, we're later in the week now, Coop, and
we are.
Still no Justin Fields news. We're going to talk about the latest surrounding that, but it certainly seems like the Steelers have their number that they would like to bring Justin Fields back at. Fields has his number that he would like to come back at, and right now they're relatively far apart, and somebody is going to have to shift before free agency starts next Monday, or else it's going to be Russell Wilson as this team's starting quarterback.
Brian03 in the chat says, let's go get Cornelius Lucas for OT.
Hey,
Brian
I love that one. Brian, I love that one.
We'll be talking about Lucas later.
Yes, we will. John Masood coming in with a $10
Let's go,
super
John.
chat to get us going on today's live stream. He says, hiya, Jack, hiya, Coop, hiya, Cassie.
I hope Cassie wasn't tuned in for a few minutes ago.
Yeah, I don't know. She probably was.
So good.
And then we've got Mike in there saying, wait, Jack, which Mike you talking to, bro? Oh, Mike, you're funny, man. John Masood, $10. Hi, Jack. Hi, Coop. Hi, Cassie. It's going to be a fun show, man. We got a bunch of great stuff coming up. Quarterback rumors to start off the show. Then we'll get into my list of free agency targets, names to watch as we approach free agency early next week. All right, so we got a bunch of great stuff. If you want to donate to the show and you want to get your question on the show, if you have a topic that you want me and Coop to discuss today, you guys can donate to the channel via Super Chat, or you guys can send in your donations via Venmo, Cashapp, or PayPal as well. We actually prefer these channels compared to Super Chat. We won't say no to Super Chats, but YouTube takes a 30% cut of every single super chat that you guys send in. So if you guys want more of your donation dollars to go to us here at Steelers Talk, you can find us at Jack-Sperry on Venmo, # Captain Jack 19 on Cash App, or at Captain Jack Rabbit on PayPal. So who's all here? Let us know down there in the comment section. Spam me in the chat if you've liked today's stream. We got 161 people watching live right now. We need to get to 50 likes. 10 more likes before we get into our first segment. Coop, give the shout-outs to the people spamming me in the chat.
Coop, give us shout-outs. Voxy, Kyle, Voxy, Kyle.
No,
Voxy.
don't do that. Don't do that.
Inside joke. I see Isaac, I see Steelers, I see God, I see Chuck, Lee Goddard, Tremaine, I see Cassie. Jack won't go to Monster Jam with me. What the hell?
I have to stay ready for breaking news this weekend.
When's Monster Jam?
This weekend.
Where is it?
Like, I think it's at AT&T.
Oh, dude, you can go to Monster Jam.
No, I cannot. If they sign Justin Fields while I'm at Monster Jam, I am fucked inside that stadium.
If they sign, no, you can get here in 40 minutes.
40 minutes. Yeah, right. No
Cassie,
way.
I'm with you, Cassie. Anyways.
Cassie did tell me she was going to put that in the chat so everybody would hate on me today. So thanks a lot for that,
Shout out
Cassie.
Lazy, Michael, Rolling, Robert, Sticky, James, Ryan. Shout out everybody.
All right, here we go. We got to 50 likes, so let's get into our first segment today. The latest news and rumors surrounding the quarterback position for the Pittsburgh Steelers. I'm going to let you guys know the latest on Justin Fields. I'm going to let you guys know the latest on Russell Wilson. We'll talk about some quarterback draft targets that have been linked to the Pittsburgh Steelers. They even hosted one on a top 30 visit today in Pittsburgh. I'll let you guys know who that is here in just a second. So let's get into our first segment of the day. Welcome into Steelers Talk. I'm your host, Jack Sperry, and today we are covering the latest quarterback rumors when it comes to the Pittsburgh Steelers. First up on today's show, we'll be talking about the latest on Justin Fields. We got a new report from the Pat McAfee Show's Steelers correspondent Mark Kaboly on his status and why he hasn't signed a deal with the Pittsburgh Steelers as of yet. Then we'll get into Pittsburgh showing interest in 2 day 2 quarterbacks. I'll let you guys know who those quarterbacks are. And there's one in particular that I think would be a really good fit for what the Pittsburgh Steelers want and a potential QB1 of the future. So when we have our new QB1 here in Pittsburgh, whether it's Justin Fields, whether it's Russell Wilson, whether it's Aaron Rodgers, whether it's somebody else, we'll be going live right here on Steelers Talk. It's probably going to happen sometime this weekend. So make sure you subscribe, turn on your notifications so you're always notified when we go live during NFL free agency next week. And, of course, when the quarterback decision has officially been made. So according to Mark Kaboly of the Pat McAfee Show, Justin Fields is in no rush to sign with the Pittsburgh Steelers before the start of free agency. Him and his representation feel like they have a good idea of what he's worth on the open market, and they have a price that they have told the Pittsburgh Steelers, you have to meet our demands or we're going to hit the open market. All right, so my entire read on the situation here is that Fields and his camp do feel like they can get whatever their asking price is via the New York Jets, via any the Tennessee Titans, any of the other teams that could be in on signing Justin Fields in NFL free agency, and they are at least posturing themselves right now as very confident that they don't have to go down on their number to stay in Pittsburgh. So it's going to be very interesting to see what happens here. I think that Fields is likely asking for something in the range of $15 to $20 million per season. I don't think he's asking for more than that, but I think that whatever his price tag is, it's more than what the Pittsburgh Steelers feel like his worth is to keep here with the Pittsburgh Steelers. A team that I think potentially could be in communication with Fields' agent and, they might feel like they can get more money from is the New York Jets. Fields and the Jets have been very well connected over the last several weeks. Apparently, Aaron Glenn and the Jets, after getting rid of Aaron Rodgers, would like to start fresh with a younger quarterback, and I think that Fields makes a lot of sense for a rebuilding franchise, so I could certainly see that being the case, and I could certainly see them offering somewhere in the range of $15 to even up to $20 million per season. on a one-year deal to see if he can be their long-term answer at the quarterback position. I think the question when it comes to Justin Fields and whether or not a deal will be done with the Pittsburgh Steelers is, will either side budge from their current number? Is Justin Fields last minute going to say, you know what, to stay in Pittsburgh, I'm going to take less money? Or are the Pittsburgh Steelers going to say, we really like Justin Fields, we really don't want him to leave, so we might overpay what we think his value is just to keep him here in Pittsburgh? It's going to be an interesting situation that's going to unfold throughout the weekend. But if I'm going to predict it right now, I would still think Justin Fields is a Steeler in 2025. I think that is my prediction still as we sit here today. I said it at the beginning of the week, guys, that I think Fields will probably sign later in the week. The deadline to get this deal done is before free agency begins for the Pittsburgh Steelers. They want to have their quarterback situation locked up before the legal tampering period next Monday. So I would say Sunday night is around the time where they're going to want to have this done and have a decision made at the quarterback position. But I'd rather get a deal done soon, all right? Like, plain and simply, there's a lot of wide receivers and a lot of players out there that are now being released and they are now available. But the Pittsburgh Steelers have made it abundantly clear they don't want to make any moves at wide receiver or any other position until they know exactly what the quarterback situation is going to be in 2025. So the sooner you get the quarterback deal done, the sooner you can address some of the other positions of need on the roster. And, I think that Pittsburgh should be able to enter the wide receiver market potentially for a guy like DK Metcalf if you end up locking in Justin Fields, Russell Wilson, or whoever else to be this team's starting quarterback in 2025. So I hope whatever the decision is, it comes sooner rather than later. So let me know down there in the comments section, what is the percent chance that Justin Fields will be the Steelers' QB1 in 2025? Let me know what you guys think down there in the comments section on a scale of 0, meaning no chance he is going to be starting for the Steelers next year, to 100, meaning he's definitely going to be the Steelers QB1 next season. This will be the pinned comment on today's show. So here in just a second, I'm going to tell you about our sponsor today at Prize Picks. And while I'm talking about Prize Picks today, go down there, find that pinned comment, and let me know the percent chance Justin Fields gets signed by the end of the weekend. And with that, let's have a word from our sponsor here at Prize Picks, which is the best place to get real money sports action all on your phone that you can download right now. Join over 10 million members and sign up today. Prize Picks invented the flex play, which means you can still cash out if your lineup isn't perfect. You can double your money even if one of your picks doesn't hit. Prize Picks puts their members first, so all withdrawals are fast, safe, and secure. And when my picks hit, I can get my money in as quick as 15 minutes. Prize Picks also offers weekly promotions that can lead to big payouts like Taco Tuesday, where every Tuesday, Prize Picks discounts select player projections up to 25% to provide even more value for your lineups. All you have to do, guys, is pick 2 to 6 player stat projections. Go more or less. And if you get them all right, or if you do a flex play, you get most of them right, then you can win some money with our friends at Prize Picks. That is, if you know ball. Download the app today and use code CLNS to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. That's $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup when you download the Prize Picks app today. Again, guys, you don't even need to win that projection to get the $50 bonus. It's guaranteed. Prize Picks, run your game. So my take on the quarterback situation right now, I understand it's not a popular take, but it is what I think is the best case scenario here, is, I think if Fields is getting too expensive, he's asking for up to $20 million per season, I would probably just sign Russell Wilson, who I think you can get for a pretty similar price tag at this point. I think the first misconception about bringing back Russell Wilson, guys, is that I don't think he's going to be as expensive as people think to bring back. I think Russ really wants to try and win, and I think he understands the Steelers give him the best opportunity to win a Super Bowl before he retires. He wants to return, all these different things. I think he's willing to take less money to stick around with the Pittsburgh Steelers. So my projection for him, honestly, would be 2 years, around $40 million. That's $20 million per season. And if you think that's too much, that's the 20th highest in the National Football League. That is not a high-paid quarterback right there. I think that Russ is somewhere in the range of like the, maybe somewhere in between the 12th and the 18th best quarterback in the National Football League, something like that. I think that if you're paying him top 20 money, I think that's a steal for the Pittsburgh Steelers. And I think the second misconception is that Russ, I don't think, would be as bad in a second year here in Pittsburgh than some people think that he would be. I think the main kind of perception of Russ was that he was a complete dumpster fire last year and he was completely terrible. Well, the offense last year, led by Russell Wilson, we can take a look at the team offensive stats. They were about league average, all right? 16th in points per game, 18th in yards per game, 18th in yards per play, 12th in third down percentage, and the one area where they were really bad at was in the red zone under Russ, 29th in the league at 47.3%. But you have to realize here, guys, that was all with a defense that was giving up 24 points a game, which ranked 20th in the league in the weeks Russell Wilson was the starting quarterback. They had an ineffective run game when the team was built to be run through the run game. They had lackluster pass protection with injuries on the offensive line and players not playing well. And looking at you, Broderick Jones, and then not enough receiving weapons. George Pickens goes down, late in the season. Then when he comes back, he's not the same player, dropping passes, not looking like the same George Pickens that we all know and love. So Russell Wilson was kind of asked to carry this Steelers offense last year, and he kind of did to like a league average kind of pace. All right, but something that you have to keep in mind here is that the Steelers have the opportunity to have their offensive line, running back, and wide receiver rooms all be better than what they were last season. So Russell Wilson in year 2 of the Arthur Smith system with better players around him could potentially go from a league average offense here in Pittsburgh to potentially an above average NFL offense to even a top 10 level offense here in the National Football League. So in my opinion here, guys, Russ has his limitations. He is not a star quarterback anymore, and you have to have a really, really good run game to be successful with Russ. But I think if you can put those pieces around him, the offensive line develops, you get a really good running back, you get the proper weapons for him in the wide receiver room, I think he can still succeed, and I still think this Steelers offense can be successful with him as their starting quarterback. That is my opinion. And I think all you have to do is juxtapose Russ's production with what the offense looked like with Justin Fields last year. All right, lower points per game under Fields than Russ last year, 21st in the league in points per game, 28th in yards per game, 30th in yards per play efficiency, so one of the least efficient offenses in the National Football League. The third down percentage was lower than it is under Russ, and then the red zone percentage is the only thing that's higher than what it was with Russell Wilson, but they still ranked 26th. That's not good enough, ladies and gentlemen. And, I think that's something, a stat that's really interesting here is that the Pittsburgh Steelers defense allowed 13 points or less in only 4 games last year. You want to guess the 4 games that those were? Those were the 4 games Justin Fields won as the Steelers starting quarterback. And then when Russell Wilson came in, he didn't get the benefit of any elite defensive performances the way Fields did at the beginning of the season. All 4 of Fields' wins were the only 4 games the defense gave up 13 or less points. And I just don't think that is something that is sustainable, in my opinion. Justin Fields is eventually going to have to win games where the defense gives up 20 or more points. Russell Wilson did that twice last year. Justin Fields was 0 for 2 in games where the defense gave up more than 20. All right, so I think that if you are relying on a quarterback that needs the defense to be elite the entire season, I think that you are really limiting what you're able to do from an offensive standpoint. And the reality of the situation here, guys, just based on the numbers that we saw from the offense with Russell Wilson at quarterback versus what we saw from Justin Fields at quarterback last year, Fields would need to take a pretty significant step forward to even match what Russell Wilson did last year, and then he would have to take an even bigger step to surpass what Russell Wilson did with the Steelers offense last year. Whereas I think if you bring back Russ and you put better pieces around him, he can get better from his production last year, and he can take a step forward because he has better pass protection, because he has better run game that allows him to use the play action game more often. He's got better wide receivers that fit his skill set of being a downfield passer. I think that if you build around Russell Wilson correctly, I think that this team can be still a successful team and a successful offense, which is why I would personally rather go with Russell Wilson. Again, if the asking price is the same. If Justin Fields is asking for 20 and you can get for Russell Wilson at 20, personally, I'm taking Russell Wilson at that price point. So let me know down there in the comments section. Pick a quarterback for me down there in the comments. RW for Russell Wilson or JF for Fields. I'm sure I'm going to see a lot of Justin Fields fans down there. That's perfectly fine. But for me personally, at $20 million per season, the quarterback I'd rather have is Russell Wilson. Now let's shift over our focus to the quarterback prospects in the NFL draft, because it does seem like Arthur Smith, Mike Tomlin, Omar Khan, they're kind of sniffing around at some of the top guys on day 2, specifically Tyler Shough out of Louisville, and then Jackson Dart from Ole Miss. Now, we know for a fact that the Steelers met with Jackson Dart at the NFL Combine with a formal meeting there in Indianapolis, and we know for a fact now a new report is saying that the Steelers met with Tyler Shough at the Steelers facility today in Pittsburgh for a top 30 draft visit. So it certainly seems like the Steelers are kind of honing in on the day 2 type of guys. Right now, the consensus is that Cam Ward and Shadur Sanders are the top 2 quarterbacks in this class. And then kind of the more consensus again is that Shough and Dart are the next 2 guys in the pecking order. And I think that is probably a correct statement. All right, depending on where you want to put these guys, it depends on your preferences as a quarterback. But Louis Riddick from ESPN says that the Pittsburgh Steelers, and specifically Arthur Smith, may consider taking Tyler Shough in round 1 of the NFL draft. This is what Riddick had to say on ESPN yesterday. Does Pittsburgh trade down in the draft and maybe pick up a quarterback here late in the first round? Is a guy like Tyler Shough, is that a guy that would be a perfect fit for this football team, who has a big arm, lots of mobility? I was talking to Arthur Smith about him at the Combine. Keep an eye on this. So listen, man, out of all the quarterbacks that could land in Pittsburgh that are going to be rookies next year, I think Shough is the top guy that I would prefer. Now, I want to be absolutely clear. I don't want to take him in round 1. All right, I want to take an impact player in round 1 at a different position, D tackle, wide receiver, running back, somewhere along those lines. But if you can get Shough on day 2, I think that he is somebody that can come in and be a pretty good starting quarterback in the NFL right now. That is, if he can stay healthy. Let's start with the physical pros that he brings to the table, because his physical profile is impressive to me. 6'5", 219 pounds, so he's got prototypical size and frame for a starting NFL quarterback. I think he's got an A- NFL arm in terms of the arm strength. A+ would be like Anthony Richardson or Patrick Mahomes or Josh Allen. I think that Tyler Shough is around an A-, so very, very good. I think he's got a very flexible arm as well, so he can throw from multiple different arm angles and platforms with pace, timing, and accuracy. He has very clean upper body mechanics, very repeatable upper body mechanics, which makes him arguably the most accurate quarterback in this entire draft class. And he pairs that with a super quick release that allows him to get rid of the football extremely quickly and avoid fumbles. And then the straight line athleticism is pretty darn good for a guy his size. He ran a 4.64 40-yard dash time. This guy can certainly move if you ask him to. Then what really impresses me, though, is just how polished he is as a college quarterback heading into the National Football League. His touch passing is the best, in my opinion, out of anybody in this entire class. His ability to throw that deep ball with touch and pace is unmatched based on all the other quarterbacks in this class, in my opinion. The mental processing is already at a pro level. He played in a pro-style college offense. And he's able to go from 1 to 2 to 3 and get the ball out quickly. His mental processing is really, really good, probably the best in this class as well. He's got very clean pocket footwork. It's one thing to be able to go from 1 to 2 to 3 guys. It's another to have your eyes and your feet aligned to your target while you're processing that information. Tyler Shough does an excellent job of that already. His pocket presence is great. He avoids sacks. He gets rid of the football. He finds his check down. Doesn't take a lot of negative plays. Only 6 interceptions last year as well, so he's not very turnover prone. He's got great anticipation on his film, which is really important in terms of the things that I'm looking at when I'm evaluating NFL quarterbacks. So I like the polish and I like the physical skill set, but there are some very defined cons when it comes to Tyler Shough's game. First off, his age, all right? He's going to be 26 in September, so he is an ancient NFL quarterback prospect, man. He's going to be 25 when he's drafted. And because of that, he's going to have a shorter lease than some of the other younger quarterbacks. Like a 22-year-old Jackson Dart is going to have some years to develop into his potential. A 26-year-old Tyler Shough is going to be pretty much expected to be a finished product in the NFL from the word go. So that added pressure is certainly a con to his profile. He has an extensive injury history. He broke his collarbone twice. He ended up having surgery to get it plated. So he's got a plate up near his shoulder blade there, his collarbone. And then he also broke his fibula on a hip drop tackle as well. So that's certainly something as well. And he only had 1 good year of college production. He missed a lot of time. He was benched twice. He was injured a lot. And then he finally put it all together in his 7th college season. So even though the tape is great, he is older. He has some injury concerns, and he only has that 1 year of college production. But I think if you think that Tyler Shough is too old, then so is Justin Fields. He just turned 26 yesterday. He's older than Tyler Shough. So if you're somebody that says, oh, Justin Fields is still young, he can still develop into a starting NFL quarterback, Why couldn't Tyler Shough at this point in his career, right? So I think that, if you're going to say one is too old, you got to say Justin Fields is too old as well, especially because he's had 4 years of poor play under his belt in the National Football League already. My grade on Tyler Shough is, if your team really likes him, you can take him at the end of round 1. But I honestly think he's probably going to be more around a round 2 type of prospect. I think a team is going to really like him. It could be the Pittsburgh Steelers, and he ends up going in round 2. I wouldn't be completely shocked if he falls to round 3 either, but I have a feeling he's going to end up going round 2 in the 2025 NFL draft. And in my opinion, guys, when you look at his film, it is the most pro-ready quarterback in this entire class. And for being as old as he is, he better be the most pro-ready quarterback in this class. I love his footwork. I love his accuracy. I love his mechanics. I love the touch on the deep ball down the field. He's got the physical tools that you look for in a starting NFL quarterback, and I love the nuance to his game. So if he can stay healthy, I think this guy's a really good chance to be a pretty decent quarterback in the National Football League. And honestly, from an in-structure playmaking standpoint, this might piss a lot of people off, but I don't care. It's the truth in my opinion. He's already a more polished player than Justin Fields is, because Justin struggles with touch. He struggles with mental processing. He turns down open receivers down the field. You don't get those issues with Tyler Shough. Now, obviously, Shough hasn't played a down in the National Football League, but based on what we've seen from his film, I think that he is already a more polished in-structure playmaker than Justin Fields is. So if you're going to be banking on a 26-year-old to be your long-term answer at starting quarterback here in Pittsburgh, honestly, I think I would take Tyler Shough over Justin Fields. But now we can shift over to Jackson Dart out of Ole Miss. And this is another guy that has been linked to the Pittsburgh Steelers in recent days. I'm not as high on Jackson Dart, but Tony Rizzo from ESPN Cleveland. So watch out here. It's ESPN Cleveland here reports. I'm hearing the fastest rising player, not only quarterback, in this whole process of underwear Olympics, talking about the NFL Combine, is Jackson Dart. And the Steelers are doing everything they can to not let that out of the bag. Don't be surprised if the Steelers keep Justin Fields and draft Jackson Dart. And like I said, guys, I'm not as high on Jackson Dart. I don't think his mental processing is nearly on the level of Tyler Shough. I don't think his pocket footwork is nearly on the level of a Tyler Shough. I don't think he probably needs more of a year to sit behind a veteran and learn how to mentally process a pro-style offense. He played in a super college-style offense with lots of RPOs, lots of screens, lots of one-read type of stuff in terms of Lane Kiffin's scheme at Ole Miss. So he's going to have to get used to the NFL game a little bit. I think Tyler Shough, if you're looking for a more pro-ready prospect, I think that Shough is probably the option you want to go with. And honestly, I think the upside with Shough is higher with the arm strength and the athleticism and the arm angles that he can throw at. I like Tyler Shough a lot more than Jackson Dart. And, whereas I have a round 2 grade on Shough, I have a round 3 grade on Jackson Dart. Even if Dart hits, I think he's going to be more of like a mid-level NFL starting quarterback. I don't see superstar potential with him. And not necessarily that I see like top 5 quarterback potential with Tyler Shough, but I do see somebody that can be a very solid NFL starter from day one and be that for the next decade. So pick your day 2 quarterback. If you are Steelers GM Omar Khan, type TS for Tyler Shough or type JD for Jackson Dart. Let me know what you guys think down there in the comment section. For me, it's not even close. I'm going with Tyler Shough, but let me know what you guys think. And now I'm going to finish up today's show here by telling you guys what I would do at the quarterback position, what I think the best plan is. And I think the best plan would be Russell Wilson mixed with Tyler Shough, all right? And the reason why I think that is because I appreciate the strategy. If you're trying to win now, but you also don't have a long-term future at quarterback, have a veteran starting quarterback to start the season so that if they're successful, great. But if he stinks, you have a long-term option you can go to if you ever get out of playoff contention. I really like that strategy from the Steelers last year when they brought in Russell Wilson and Justin Fields. I thought Fields did not play well enough on tape to garner taking over the starting job, so I would rather redo the same strategy they did last year where if the team is successful, great. Russell Wilson is able to be this team's starting quarterback. Hopefully they go to the playoffs and hopefully they win a playoff game. But if that plan doesn't work out, then you have a guy like Tyler Shough who can come in and be a very serviceable player, and you can give him essentially a tryout to be the long-term starting quarterback of the Pittsburgh Steelers, and hopefully he and the offense play better than Justin Fields did when he was the starting quarterback in 2024. That'll be it for today's show, guys. I really do appreciate all of your guys' support. Make sure you guys click that subscribe button if you haven't already, because if Justin Fields signs, if Russell Wilson signs, all these different things, whoever the Steelers end up signing at the quarterback position here in the hours and days to come, we're going to have you covered right here on Steelers Talk. So make sure you click that subscribe button right now. All right, a long first segment there, Coop, a beast of a video. I'm sure a lot of people are not happy with me, saying a rookie quarterback that hasn't played a single down in the National Football League is already more polished than Justin Fields.
I think it's a crazy take, but that's okay.
But you don't like Justin Fields either.
I don't think Justin Fields is the answer.
But you don't like Tyler Shough.
I'm not a huge fan of Tyler Shough. He had 6 bad years of college football, injury-prone football. He did play well last year at Louisville, and there's no getting around that. Look, I don't think he's a long-term answer at quarterback for the Steelers. I don't think he's a franchise QB.
I think he's pretty darn good. I've been really impressed with what I see on film, and I'm excited to see what he's going to do in the league. If it's not with the Pittsburgh Steelers, I'm still excited to see what he's going to do in the National Football League. Chris says, Jack, we can't solve the quarterback situation this year, but we can trade for DK Metcalf, who would be an absolute win to acquire. Don't fail us, Khan. I'm gonna.
He followed this up by saying trade for Metcalf, draft a QB in the second round.
I mean, I don't hate this plan at all. This is actually what I would love to do. I would love to trade for Metcalf, but here's the thing. If to get Metcalf, you probably got to give up your second round pick.
Are you giving DK $32 million a year?
I'd give him, I don't know, man. It's an expensive contract. I don't know if the Steelers can necessarily afford that. They would have to.
That's what I'm saying.
They would have to backload his deal if they get him, in my opinion.
Yeah, they absolutely would.
Because you can't have a $32 million cap hit on a receiver this year, because that would take up more than half of your current cap space right now.
Yeah, 100%.
And you got 2 corner spots to fill in free agency. You still got to get your quarterback, which is going to cost you, it sounds like, at least $15 million per season. If they trade for Metcalf and they offload the deal so that his cap hit is lower, in 2025 compared to the later seasons, I think it could make sense. But, I do think the Steelers, they're going to have a preferred quarterback target. I think it's probably going to be Shough in round 2. And if he gets there in round 2, I think they're going to take him, whether it's Justin Fields or Russell Wilson at quarterback next year.
Yeah, I would agree with that, honestly. I mean, it wouldn't shock me if they took a QB in the first 2 days of the draft. It seems like they're interested in Shough, according to Riddick.
Because, my plan there, I just revealed my plan. I would personally go with Russ, because I think he would give you the higher floor as a veteran, but I also think he can get better with improved offensive line play, better wide receivers, better running backs, and then I'd put Shough in there. My preferred veteran-rookie combo would be Russ and Shough. But if you had Justin Fields as the starter, the same thing still applies. You can still draft Shough, and if the team if the team stinks with Fields, if they're out of playoff contention, then you can go to the rookie to see if he's got it, right?
Would you take Milroe, as Chris asked? $2 super chat.
$2 super chat. What about Milroe from Alabama? I'd take him in round 5. I think he's got a long way to go. He has to sit at least probably 2 years.
I think he sits 2 years minimum.
Yeah, he's like a bigger Malik Willis. That really is what he is. He's a true one read to run quarterback. He's got great arm talent. He's a dynamic rusher of the football. He has great size, which Malik Willis didn't have. So at least he has that over Malik. But
Milroe's got a little playmaking ability, though.
Yeah, and I think Milroe's got the body type to make a transition to running back. So if it doesn't work out at quarterback, the Steelers can maybe convert him into a running back, which would be fun. All right, fun.
Would your guess be that it doesn't work out at QB for him?
Yeah, that's my guess.
Yeah.
That's why you're spending a 5th round pick on him.
Yeah.
If my guess was that he would develop, I would draft him. I'd probably take him on day 2, but I don't have that belief in him. So I'm willing to take, a little bit of a flyer on him in round 5, because it's a round 5 pick. Who cares? But, a higher draft pick where you could get a potential starter instead of him, I'm not even thinking about doing that if I'm the Pittsburgh Steelers. The only quarterbacks that I would even think about using a day 2 draft pick on are Tyler Shough and then Jackson Dart in the 3rd round. I would not draft Dart in the 2nd. I would not draft him in the 1st. I would maybe think about the 3rd round, depending on who else is on the board.
Not including Ward and Sanders.
Not including Ward and Sanders, yeah, because I don't really think those guys are going to be available. And even if Sanders is, he doesn't have a strong arm.
If he's there at 21, I will be fascinated to see what the Steelers do.
I would not want him. Because
I kind of agree with you.
Because in this city, and then in this division, all right, you're playing outside in the cold, in the wind. You got to have a strong arm to break through the elements.
He doesn't have it.
He doesn't have that. He has a below-average NFL arm, and he doesn't really anticipate stuff very well.
I feel like Dion would want him to play under a guy like Tomlin.
Like, I'll say this. I said earlier, I think that Tyler Shough is more polished right now than Justin Fields is as an in-structure playmaker. I would say the same thing about Shedeur Sanders. Shedeur does not anticipate open routes the way that Shough does at this point. I think Shedeur is very good at mentally processing information. He can get to his second and third read, but he's usually later than Shough is, in my opinion. So I think that Shough right now is the better prospect. I have Shedeur ranked higher on my big board because he's younger and he's got a little bit more leeway to grow and get better in the years to come. Shough needs to be good immediately, which makes him a round 2 prospect for me, not a day 1 guy. And that's where I'm at. I think that Shough arguably has the most pro-ready film of anybody in this class. If the Steelers are looking for somebody that can come in and potentially be this team's starter right away, that would be the option that I think they're going to go and try and get. Because he reminds me a lot of Ryan Tannehill. All right, bigger guy, strong arm. He's gonna run. He's a good straight line athlete, but he doesn't have much wiggle to him. He's not gonna be dynamic the way Justin Fields is in the run game, but he can pick up a first down. He's got 4.64 is pretty good for a quarterback.
Give me current Tannehill over Shough.
Jesus. It's a current Tannehill over Shough.
Oh yeah.
That is a ridiculous take. All right. Let's shift away from the quarterbacks because my quarterback takes tend to piss a lot of people off, frankly.
Under 90% like rate.
Probably under. Probably under. All right, man, let's get into my free agency targets for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Some very interesting names here that you got to be keeping your eye on once we hit Monday afternoon. Welcome into Steelers Talk. I'm your host, Jack Sperry, and today we are breaking down my list of the top free agency targets at every single position of need for your Pittsburgh Steelers. Before we dive in here, it's going to be a little bit of a longer video, just so you guys know, but thank you so much for making it to the end today. Name for me down there in the comments section. Name someone you really want the Pittsburgh Steelers to sign in free agency next week. Let me know what you guys think down there in the comments section. We're going to be talking about a lot of my favorite potential future Steelers here in just a second, so let me know what you guys think down there in the comments. So I want to start off here by saying we're not going to be talking about quarterbacks today because it sounds like the Steelers will either get Justin Fields or Russell Wilson. Who knows? By the time this video comes out, there might already be a decision on that, all right? So I'm not going to be diving into the pros and cons of Russell Wilson and Justin Fields like I have on this show before. I'm going to focus on other positions today. So let's start here with the effective cap space. At the time of me filming this video, all right, it's very possible that by the time this comes out, they cut Larry Ogunjobi, or they cut Cordero Patterson, or they restructure Pat Freiermuth or Alex Highsmith, and they get more effective cap space than this. But at the time of me recording this video, they have about $60.5 million to spend on veteran players via trade and in free agency. That's what effective cap space means. Here are the team needs that we'll be talking about today. Running back, wide receiver, defensive line, outside cornerback, slot cornerback, third safety, potentially inside linebacker, backup quarterback, swing tackle, and backup center/interior offensive lineman. So let's start here with the running back position. I think step one for the running back position here is to lock up Jaylen Warren. Now, he's a restricted free agent, so you can place the RFA tender on him here, and that would cost the team $5.346 million against the cap, all right? So I think that is a very reasonable number for a really good running back like Jaylen Warren, and I think they end up bringing him back. And for me, step two is drafting a dynamic number one running back, whether that's Ashton Genty, Omarion Hampton, Quinshon Judkins, Caleb Johnson, or maybe even Cam Scadaboo. I think that they're going to draft a running back early in the NFL draft, but if they end up getting a free agent, I think the guys to keep your eye on, J.K. Dobbins, when he's healthy, he's really good, but he can never, ever stay healthy. Nick Chubb came back from his injury last year and was not the same player he was before that knee injury. Aaron Jones had a good season last year, but he's getting older. Najee Harris, Pro Football Focus can go shove it with $11.5 million per season. I just don't think Najee's going to get that. Jamal Williams is also an option there. I think Jamal would be more of a number 2 running back to Jaylen Warren's number 1 running back if that ended up happening. But I do like his skill set and I like his mentality. And then when it comes to wide receiver targets, guys, I think it depends on who the quarterback is going to be. And like I said, I'm not going to be talking about who the quarterback is going to be. It could be Fields. It could be Russ. And potentially by the time you're seeing this, we already know the answer to that question. But for Fields, you need more yard after the catch threats and route runners, to help him out a little bit, consistently win against man-to-man coverage. And I think that the offense will be a lot more horizontal with lots of play action, with lots of RPOs, with lots of screen passes. You want people that can really move after the catch if Justin Fields is the quarterback. And then if you're going with Russell Wilson, your offense is going to be more deep ball centric with his touch on the moon balls, right? So you're going to want big body, deep threats, and you're going to want to pair George Pickens with another one of those bigger bodies to match with Russell Wilson. Some other wide receiver free agent targets here to think about: DK Metcalf and Courtland Sutton you'd have to trade for, but if you want to pair Russell Wilson up with one of these guys, one of his former teammates, you could certainly attempt to do that. Chris Godwin, I think he'll be going back to the Buccaneers, but he's a really good player. Tyler Lockett, Stephon Diggs, Cooper Kupp, DeAndre Hopkins, Mike Williams, Amari Cooper, and Darius Slayton. I don't know, man. Those names don't really interest me all that much. Slayton's interesting, but Mike Williams and Amari Cooper, I think, are completely cooked at this point. So predict it for me down there in the comment section. Which veteran wide receiver will the Steelers add this offseason? Predict it for me. Will it be Darius Slayton? Will it be DK Metcalf? Will it be Courtland Sutton? Let me know what you guys think down there in the comments section for today's pinned comment. YouTube's going to throw you an ad break here in just a couple of seconds. And when that happens, take advantage of that time by answering today's pinned question. All right, now let's get into defensive tackles here, because I think this is going to be an interesting position for the Steelers this year. And the reason for that is because I don't know if they're going to address this position in free agency, in the draft, or both. You look at this position right now. Right now you got Keanu Benton as your nose tackle, Cam Hayward as your DT, and then Larry Ogunjobi as your 3-4 DM. So right now I think that Larry Ogunjobi could be cut. He might even be cut by the time that this video goes out. But my preference would be to get a nose tackle this offseason so that Keanu Benton can move to the 3 technique, Cam Hayward can move to the 5 technique, and you can have a true run stuffer in the middle of the defense that can take on double teams. And that would open up Keanu Benton to be a more disruptive player in the middle of the defense, in my opinion. You pair that with an all-pro Cam Hayward, I think that the interior of the Steelers D-line could be dangerous if you can get the proper nose tackle. But there aren't a lot of great veteran nose tackles available in free agency this year. Somebody that catches my eye that I would be thrilled to get here in Pittsburgh is Poona Ford. He's been one of the best run stuffers in the league for a very, very long time. Right now, PFF projects that the Steelers could get him for a 1-year, $3.5 million contract. That is certainly something that I am interested if I am the black and gold. If not, I think the move is probably to get a nose tackle in the draft. There's a lot of guys that could play nose in all rounds of the NFL draft. Obviously, if you're looking for a starter, it might be earlier rather than later. But I think that nose tackle is an important position because it allows this defensive line here in Pittsburgh to really unlock itself heading into 2025. I also wouldn't mind a rotational defensive tackle to help rush the passer. With Loudermilk being a free agent here, I think that is something that you want to address. And I honestly wouldn't mind bringing him back, all right? I think that he's a good player, and I would love to bring back Isaiah Loudermilk. I think that he's a good rotational guy for what he is. He's not a starting-level player, but I think he's very, very solid in a rotational role. So if you can get him for a very affordable contract, I'd be happy with that. But I think that there's lots of rotational defensive tackles out there to choose from, guys like potentially Javon Hargrave, depending on what kind of role he wants to fill in the National Football League at this point in his career. Jaron Reed, Tershawn Wharton is somebody to really keep your eye on. He's really good. Tyler Tart as well has been one of the best rotational pass rushers in the league for a long time. And then Sebastian Joseph Day is another guy that could be on the Steelers' radar as well. So coming up here on Steelers Talk, I'm going to be breaking down my cornerback free agency targets and more here. We got backup quarterback. We got interior offensive line, swing tackle. Got a lot of stuff to discuss on the rest of today's Steelers Talk free agency plan. But before we get into that, let's go to chatsports.com/beanie to get yourself a really nice Steelers hat in your closet today for those cold weather months. Another thing that's great about Fanatics here is that they send us part of the proceeds whenever you use our link. So right now, this hat's on sale. You guys can go chatsports.com/beanie to get this beanie in your closet today and help out the channel. So I think the Pittsburgh Steelers are actually going to sign 2 corners in free agency. One guy for the outside, one guy for the nickel. And right now, Nick Farabaugh from Penn Live has reported that the Steelers are targeting former Raider slot cornerback Nate Hobbs. So really keep your eye on Hobbs to start the free agency period on Monday. I really think he's a great fit for what Pittsburgh wants in their slot corner. He's kind of a bigger slot corner, very physical, and that's exactly what they look for. Some other slot cornerback options, Mike Hilton was obviously a former star in this defense as a blitzing slot corner. Right now, PFF projects a 3-year, $11 million per season contract. I don't know if I buy that. And then Jordan Lewis, who I really like personally, 2 years, $3.5 million is what they project for him. Then on the outside, Nick Farabaugh said that the players that the Steelers are specifically targeting are Charvarius Ward, DJ Reed, and Carlton Davis. All these guys would be excellent options, in my opinion, and all of them would be around the same price tag. Around 3 years, about $14 million per season is what you guys can expect from Charvarius Ward, DJ Reed, and Carlton Davis moving forward. And I think that the Steelers probably will land one of these guys. I think they got the money to do it. I think that they're very motivated to get that done. And I do think that they will sign them for somewhere around 3 years, $14 million per season. But if they don't go with one of those three, there's plenty of other options. Lots of really good veteran cornerback options out there. Asante Samuel Jr., Byron Murphy Jr., Darius Slay, Paulson Adebo, and Rasul Douglas are some other veteran options that I think that they will be considering as well. So let me know down there in the comments section, which cornerbacks do you want Pittsburgh to sign in free agency? Personally, I would love Carlton Davis and Nate Hobbs, but let me know what you guys think down there in the comments section. Really looking forward to what cornerbacks you are interested in here when you get down there in the comments. So I think that we can look for Mike Tomlin to potentially sign an affordable third safety as well. You got Minkah Fitzpatrick, you got Deshaun Elliott. Tomlin likes to have that third piece in the safety room to be able to use that. And the piece that I would love is Isaiah Simmons. Isaiah Simmons, right now, his projected deal is 1 year, $2 million. And I think that as a really, really versatile chess piece, I think that he would be an excellent fit with what the Pittsburgh Steelers want to do. He can play in the box. He can play safety. He can play in the slot even. I think that he's really good at manning up tight ends. And I think that having that kind of versatile chess piece in the Steelers defense would benefit this team quite a bit. When it comes to inside linebacker, I'm interested to see if they bring back Landon Roberts after restructuring Cole Holcomb's deal. I think that they would like Roberts back, but does Roberts really want to come back if his status in this rotation is in question? So it'll be interesting to see. Right now, PFF projects a 1 year, $3.25 million contract for him, so we'll see if he ends up being a Pittsburgh Steeler in the future. Right now, the rotation is Patrick Queen, Peyton Wilson, and then Cole Holcomb would probably slot in as the rotation piece. That is, if Landon Roberts does not come back for 2025 and beyond. So some high-end backups for the quarterback position. Jacoby Brissett, Jameis Winston, Carson Wentz, Case Keenum, Joe Flacco. These are the veteran options out there that have a lot of starting experience, that if Justin Fields or whoever the quarterback of this team is goes down, you can probably trust them to operate the offense relatively effectively. Or you could go with a younger quarterback with a little bit of upside. People like Daniel Jones, who's still pretty young, Zach Wilson, Drew Lock, Trey Lance, Mac Jones, former early round draft picks with a lot of physical talent, but haven't been able to cultivate that yet. If you want to take another dart throw, you could potentially look to get one of these guys. So chime in for me down there in the comments section. Which kind of quarterback 2 do you want on this team? Do you want type H for high end or type D for dart throw? For me personally, especially if it's Justin Fields, I would prefer a high-end backup, and then maybe drafting a quarterback in the NFL draft would probably be my plan there. But let me know what you guys think down there in the comments section. We're almost finished up here on Steelers Talk, but first let's talk about some backup positions on the offensive line. First thing, Pittsburgh needs a quality swing tackle. Broderick Jones has certainly struggled in his NFL career, and if he stinks, or if, God forbid, he gets hurt, or Troy Fautano gets hurt, that's a big concern. I want somebody with a lot of experience starting at left and right tackle that can come in and I can be relatively confident in. I think my preferred choice would be Cornelius Lucas from the Washington Commanders, and he played both left and right tackle this past year for Washington. He was arguably the best tackle on the team. So I think he'd be an excellent fit here in Pittsburgh. And then when it comes to the backup center position and kind of depth along the interior of the offensive line, I just bring back Nate Herbig. Good locker room guy. He already knows the scheme. Obviously, Zach Frazier is this team's starting center, but I think Nate Herbig would be a great fit as the backup. That'll be it for today's show, guys. Thank you so much for making it to the end. Type real one if you made it all the way to the end with us here on Steelers Talk. NFL free agency is just ramping up next week, guys. So make sure you click that subscribe button for our breaking news coverage whenever that news hits. Oh, my goodness. All right. For those of you that don't know, I'm dealing with a little bit of sickness right now, and I was getting a little winded.
I was like, are we going to have to stop the segment?
Oh, man. Okay, so I'm fighting through it here, guys. I'm not feeling great today, and I'm hoping I'm feeling better here soon. But
you will. We'll take the super chat, and we'll get Sperry home. Cassie, make some hot chocolate, maybe make some salt water for him. Get the voice all good. Get the vitamin C in you, load it up. Maybe no Monster Jam on Saturday.
Yeah. All right.
Dylan says, Jackson Dart looked great at the Combine. If attainable, let's draft him.
I'd take him in round 3. I like Tyler Shough's film a lot more than Jackson Dart's. I think Dart needs some time, a little bit more time to develop. I thought he did fine at the NFL Combine, but Shough also threw the ball really well at the Combine too.
Let's say Shough's off the board, but Dart's there in round 2.
What's that?
Let's say Shough's off the board, but Dart's there in round 2.
I'm not taking him.
You're not taking him.
No, I think that there's more impactful players than Dart. I don't like him enough to take him in round 2.
All right, let's get out of here.
All right. I am absolutely spent here, guys. Thank you so much for sticking with me. Please forgive me. I am feeling a little bit under the weather today, so hopefully I feel better for whenever the team signs the quarterback this weekend. Whenever that happens, we're going to be going live, no matter how I'm feeling, and we're going to make it work here this weekend, guys. So I appreciate all of your support. Thank you guys so much for everything that you do for me and Coop here on Steelers Talk.
Get ready.
And get ready, because this weekend and heading into next week is going to be a lot of fun. So until then, guys, here we go, Steelers.